I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
They say this is a big rich town.
Where Jimmy at? We miss him.
I know. Yeah. He will point to you right about now. All right.
This is where it goes down. Well, yeah.
Gotta get that in there.
Right.
I'd like the remix with Warren G, please.
You know what? Actually,
Hey.
you know what version I actually like? When Ghost died.
Oh,
and
the acapella slow version?
So it reminded me of like this old Baptist deacon doing devotion. Oh, it's a big rich town.
Oh, you just any opportunity to go to church,
I just
yes?
come
Yeah.
from the
He'll
poorest
take it.
part.
He will take it.
That vibrato was everything. All right, so what's up, everybody? We're here, and we are wrapping up episode 6, season 6, episode 13, titled "It's Not Your Fault." And I'm Bamm Ericsen. Introduce the panel.
Jill Munroe.
What up? I'm Robin Ayers.
Okay, so it's just the three of us tonight. So, do we all agree that we really liked last night's episode?
Loved.
I love. Oh,
Yeah.
by far, yeah.
It was like my favorite, assuredly.
Of
at
the five,
Of
right.
the 5 so far. I mean, I can't say because we haven't seen the last 2.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so far, this by far, I like the endings that tied together. I like the acting, the story. I like where we're projected to go potentially. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did too. So it started off with and happy Monday. You know, today is the Dr.
Yes.
Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday, and we just want to acknowledge that. So it started off with right after Tommy killed Benny. So he drags him into the apartment, and then he gets rid of him. He pays someone to get rid of his body. He calls Mrs.
Threw on that old EMT suit.
Right.
Yeah. And
Teresi lives again.
yeah, and so his mom comes and picks him up. She's pissed that she probably had to miss her stories or miss her drug run or whatever
Yeah.
she was to pick him up. And she says, "Well, why couldn't Lakeisha pick her up?" And then she finds out that she's dead, and that he thinks obviously at this time that Ghost killed him.
Yeah.
And so she goes to comfort her baby, and she takes baby Tommy back to the house, and she cooks him some food and all this stuff. So
But
I
you know
thought-
the baby Tommy thing, like when they're in the car, she says, "Do you want me to take you back home?" And he's all like, "This
needed
face
it.
was everything."
He
was
needed
like
a moment.
Yeah, he needed some milk.
He did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I thought that was great. And then we also see the introduction of Honduras while
Debbie Mazur, shout out to her.
Debbie Mazur. So we see that. So now we see where the episode's going. So we see Tommy, we see Mrs. Egan, we see Elisa Marie and Honduras. And so now this is where it gets good. So we go back, and so now Tommy decides that I need to get out of here. He sees the orange juice. He sees California and Rodolfo, what we saw some episodes ago about the Connect. Although Jason,
We've been calling for Tommy to go to California though since what, season 5 or
Yeah,
season 4?
Yeah.
Whenever Jason was going to send him out there,
Yeah.
we have been for that. So kind of glad it might be coming to fruition.
Right.
Yeah, but Kate. So, do you feel like Kate was being? Do you feel like she was being selfish? She was like, don't be ridiculous. Where she's gonna score drugs on the streets. You don't know anybody. Your family's here. Then the news announces that James is running, and then it triggers Tommy. And then Tommy, go ahead. Oh, you want to say something? And then and Tommy says that. Tommy says, "Did Ghost have his back when he killed them?" All right. So at this point, we see that. Tommy starts to be infuriated, and then Kate mentions something about how Ghost has always had his back, which was an ongoing theme. He's always had your back. When Tasha was pregnant with the twins, he came all the way out while she was pregnant with the twins to come take care of you, and so this is in Tommy's head the whole entire time now as he starts to go on this mission. And he comments about that. Do you think Kate had any valid points of why she kept defending Jamie?
Well, I mean, if she really we know by now that she truly looks at him like a son, like a real son, and I think that that's very valid from her. Kate, she has some skewed points of view sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's true, but pertaining to that specific question, yes, I think that that's very valid.
Okay, so Elisa Marie over here, she's playing the recording, and Honduras.
But wait, before that. remember she was downstairs looking out the window. I thought it was very important that Elisa Marie knew that the timing was off. She was like, when's the last time Uncle Benny texts you?
Yeah.
Every hour on the hour, proof of life.
Yes.
Mini mob boss in the making. She is on point, nerves of steel.
Yes, she did. She says, I know the system, proof of every life, every hour. And she asked, when was the last time he texted? And she said, not since last night.
So then Elisa Marie went under her Nancy Drew stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fast forward a little bit. We'll get to all of this, but just a quick question about Elisa Marie. Do you guys think that she has what it takes to be seen again outside of Power?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this is a setup for, all of this talking is not for
We'll get to it.
But also, for someone like her who is quiet and who, we hadn't heard the child talk.
Yeah.
She didn't say much, but when kids are around adult things, we were taught,
Stay in the child's place.
Stay in the child's place.
Yeah.
But when we were children, we used to always listen.
Of course, yeah.
And just the life that the lifestyle that she has grown up to. She's seeing all type of things.
Yeah, and only from our perspective, only from adults. There are no other kids. She doesn't do kid things. It's all she's just literally peeping game from
she
every
did a little
around.
bit. Remember, she had dance class and stuff, but we forgot about that.
But I mean that's extracurricular activity. But I'm just saying, as far as like kids being around her doing some kid-friendly things, to me it seems like she's been, everybody's just been, whether they know it or not, giving her a lot of game.
And the only friend she thought she had was Tariq.
Yeah.
So now let's go to when. All right, so
the diner.
So she sees the device. And she asks her, where's it at? So she wants to, Honduras wants to go and give it to Uncle Carlo because he's a mob boss and wants to take care of it, no police involved.
Yeah.
As she did what she needed to do. So Elisa Marie was like, well, can we just find out really quickly to make sure if that's really who I think it is? So then she goes to Tariq, and now Tariq is at the diner with Honduras and Elisa Marie. Hit it. What you guys think?
Tariq is a trip, though. Like, Tariq is Ghost's son, really. Like, he's so... what I got to give him is that he's very strategic in the way that he thinks, and I think that he thinks a lot like Ghost. I mean, it's all in the writing, of course, right? But that's why, I mean, we're seeing this kind of unfold before our very eyes as to really Tariq being set up to be the next Ghost. Yeah. That's what I got from that conversation when they were sitting there.
I just got that he was very, thinking on his feet. Oh, yeah, maybe I can take it to my mom and she knows who Ghost and Tommy are. And I love that Aunt Doris saw immediately through it. Because Elisa Marie, as mature as she is, she's still a child.
Right.
So she doesn't recognize that Tariq is playing her. And this has been brought up before, but I thought the way she just shut him down quickly,
Yeah, and you know what, CC Freak in the chat room, I'm going to agree with you who says Tariq need his ass whooped. What do you think?
Side note, the actor who plays Spanky, Omar Shrogans, he says, "What's up?" So,
what's up, Spanky?
What up, though, Omar?
Tears.
Yeah,
I know. We'll get to that too, but
we'll get to him. So, I'm sorry, I was what.
We were talking about the diner, Tariq, Aunt Doris peeping game. So where do we go from there? Tariq leaves and he reaches out to Tommy, right?
Yes.
So I was trying to remember what the status of their relationship was, but he did have vital information for Tommy. But in that scene, what became apparent to me was that Tariq is really, really still mad at Ghost. Like, he's not going to let up on any of this.
I mean, this is very clear after last night's episode. And I do want to make something clear. This was from I can't even pronounce your name, but the POIUIT 98 says, I love how Benny's wife handled Tariq, but that was Benny's sister.
Yes, yeah.
Benny's sister.
She did, and Elisa Marie's smart. Obviously, Doris is smart. So the way that they broke Tariq down, he had to literally go back and start fresh when he brought Tommy the information, because Doris pretty much broke him down. She was like, why? She figured everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you leave the door open? Why did you leave? Who else was there?
Yeah,
and
that's
whole,
Benny's sister.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, and they're from that mob, so we shouldn't be surprised by that.
He was like, I was just craving hot cocoa.
I mean, the innocent kid.
He could have said, I was
with some
waiting for him
people.
to say, I saw her crying. I wanted to cheer her up.
Yeah.
I offered her to take her for ice cream. if I was in the writers' room, that would have came out. But no, I get it.
But with Tommy and Tariq in that conversation, he goes and tells him that he knows where it is. He tells him about the recording and stuff. So now this starts to upset Tommy more because Tommy's on this mission thinking that Ghost is this bad person who's done all these bad things. So the one thing that Tariq did do was Tariq told him that I know where Elisa Marie is. Anything else with that first conversation? All right, so
shout out to the 270 people in the live chat.
Oh
Please
my
like
gosh.
us.
Wow.
We appreciate you checking us out.
All day.
Thank you. So after that, Tommy goes to Club Truth. Security spots him ASAP, and he gets out of there.
The only time security spotted anything for that particular night, but
you know what?
Can we talk about it?
Rise.
Yeah.
Y'all go ahead.
It just
There's no security in Truth. No cameras.
Right.
Maybe there are. Maybe we'll find out later.
Yeah.
Well,
Security
and that was a
lax.
very specific event, very like it's political.
Political.
So maybe it was security for,
Yeah.
whomever, whatever. But I just, this is a side note, but out of curiosity, I'm very curious how they shot all these different people's perspectives. How did they shoot that? Like, was it all in a day, or not all in a day? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think when we kind of elaborate on that with Monica, and
They
it was
actually reshot the scenes
when
they were shooting them
Yeah,
for the
it's like they
episode.
reshot the scenes. But I will say, despite me being petty and dragging, I don't care. I think it is pretty fascinating that we get to see a TV series where they're giving each perspective, each episode's like, has that ever been done on any other show like that?
maybe.
in a similar way.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
Yeah.
really good. I mean,
appreciate
and you kind of just said this, Joe, like they reshot episodes. Absolutely. You have to, specifically for each character, you got to shoot different episodes. But what I'm saying is, I can't see Paz's perspective, her going to Tommy's and then doing her whole scene. Then, all right, cut, go home. And then when it's Tommy's turn, Paz, we're calling you back to set to shoot that one scene. I would kind of think like while they're there,
To shoot
they
it
know
all
that
the
they're
same.
going to have Tommy's perspective. So let's shoot two different perspectives while we're here, while we have your time. Same thing from when we saw from Ghost's perspective. Remember the real episode? Give me a second.
No, that's good.
When
I'm
he
agreeing,
when he
yeah.
was at Power, he was on the stage and he was doing his he was giving his speech.
Yeah.
He sees Tommy walk in, right, and
Yeah.
then we see Tommy take off. It all just like all of a sudden we see him take off. I can't see them saying, thanks, Joe, have a good, good night. Now when it's Joseph's
2
turn.
weeks later,
Yeah.
coming back and doing the
to
same
shoot the
setup.
exact same scene. It would seem as though they would shoot both of those perspectives while they have. That's just a side note. We ain't got to go down it, but I'm just curious
But
about
also but actually, that's a great point. But I do think that they shot them separately because Courtney was talking about budget and how they couldn't afford to burn down Truth. So, and plus I know that with Power, I think it takes 7 to 14 days to shoot depending on the schedule.
Yeah.
So I would assume like it makes sense, but I just from the production side, I do think that they just redo them again.
But from the
yeah.
production side, wouldn't it make sense that they shoot everything on that same day?
Well,
Versus because that makes sense more when it
Yeah.
comes to budget. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Courtney.
Yeah.
When you get here, we'll ask you. Okay, so we can keep going.
So Tommy leaves Club Truth, and we see Blanca and her only appearance in this episode. And I love
Puerto
the
Rican pantsuit.
Yeah. And so she goes and she hands over Lakeisha's belongings, and she also then says that if he would testify against Ghost James, that she would give him immunity and she will just let it ride about him killing Pancho.
I mean,
it goes to show you how bad she really wants to get Ghost.
Yeah, she
you know what I'm
said
saying?
she had personalized handcuffs, like she's ready to take him down, but Tommy's a free man. At this point.
I mean, if you really look at every scene in every character, it shifts.
Yeah.
We'll never live down the fact that everybody's after the power.
Yeah.
And so Paz at this moment wants to utilize her power and say, "We'll give you immunity." Like, can she really make that decision? I don't know. I mean, or would she have to get that approved by Warner? Or
I think she's operating on an ask forgiveness later type of
yeah.
situation.
which
So,
clearly she's been doing a
Yeah.
lot. So
as is everybody in the Western District. Is it Eastern District?
Eastern District.
Eastern
So Tommy calls BG, blames him for being the rat who snitched that he killed Poncho. We'll get to that in just a second. And then he opens the bag and he sees the earrings. So
I
obviously,
knew it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We called that.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
so
I
we
knew
caught
that was
that,
going to
yeah.
happen. It makes so much sense.
So obviously, those are the same earrings that Holly stole back in
Yeah.
season 1, and he defended Holly and so forth.
Yeah.
And so now he goes to Tasha. Hit it.
I mean, it was a powerful scene.
Bam, I want to see you hit it.
Right.
Because I want you
I
to
wanna
go
get your
first.
perspective.
Okay, so Petty Pablo's ready. So
I'm sorry, Jill. I didn't mean to cut you off.
My question is, was that bad acting of Naturi that we didn't see any teardrops while she was being sad, or
That's
was
not petty.
or was she just was she trying to save her ass?
I mean, she might have been trying to save her ass. How many times have we seen her actually be fearful for her life and what she would do in that moment? We don't know. She didn't tear up either when James had his hands on her in the kitchen in that scene. So maybe, thugs don't cry. I don't know. I mean,
Okay, right.
Yeah.
we have our whatevers about it. What I did feel, though, was Tommy deciding not to kill her. And I feel like what saved her, even though the paperwork was there, cold hard facts once again hitting Tommy in the face, what you think you know, you don't necessarily know, was when she mentioned Tariq and Yaz, that she asked him to take care of them. I
Yeah.
think that's what saved her.
Yeah. I mean, well, in the back of Tommy's mind, I think that he understands. We know this, and we were talking about this with Monica, how he really does yearn for family. That's sort of like at the core of Tommy, right? And so that did hit home when she brought up the two kids. Yeah, like I'm sure that's gonna like jolt him a little bit and make him think otherwise.
Do you think it also saved her because at this point, he still thinks that Ghost is a part of the killing?
No.
No.
I don't think he thought that at all.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think so. I think he's
thi-
very clear. This earring says that you were at my house, and and then she
Ghost
admitted
had an
it.
alibi, too.
Yeah, that too.
That is
Yeah.
true. I mean, I don't have anything else to say. Should he have killed her? No. But Tommy made a valid point but you lied. Like, Tasha could have said something a long time ago about it, but,
So, I mean, I'll be honest.
game
I
is the
did
game.
think it was going to be a bigger deal when he found out that it was Tasha. I thought it was going to be a bigger deal. I didn't know
I did
if
too,
they were
actually,
going to
yeah.
be.
You know why I didn't think it was? Because Tasha is his sister. And throughout the entire series, we've seen Tommy and Tasha as like the other side of Tommy and Ghost. That's his ride or die. He would go to her for advice, for guidance, for help. He listened to her.
Yeah, but
So,
didn't he do the same thing with Ghost?
he did.
I mean, I know in a
but-
different kind of way, but I'm just saying there is. I mean, yes, Tasha, Tommy, like this, and sister, brother, but like he was raised with Ghost, and so that was your brother, and he's like, I mean, he admits that, but he's still like, that's the way the streets go. You know what I'm saying? If you do something to betray me like that, I'm just thinking
He didn't kill Ghost though.
he tried.
he tried.
He's tried.
Yeah.
He's tried, but also when he's tried to kill Ghost, there's always been the resistance.
The hesitation.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that. Y'all don't feel what happened?
403 in the live chat. What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, hey. Okay, so listen, remember that battle in the street? First of all, I can be a little bit petty by saying, who's ever around to catch this stuff? I know, like
Yeah.
in real life, it was the band license number, blah, 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 blah. The dude looked like this. Tommy and all of them are always on the streets and nobody,
But you know
shooting,
what?
killing.
I will say when I'm in New York, people mind their business. And when I am in places that look like Tommy, like people just mind their business. So as far as gunshots, I'm not sure,
Okay,
but people
well-
tend to mind their
All right,
business.
well, okay. But my point is,
Yeah.
we've seen that battle. Remember when they were shooting? There was a full-blown shootout. I think Ghost was in that white van, or Tommy and them were in the white van. I'm not sure.
In the
But-
ambulance when
Yeah,
Ghost
the
ran into
yes,
it.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he. I don't feel like he hesitated then. I think he really did try to kill him.
Yeah. So then Elisa Marie gives Doris a backup of the recording to take to Uncle Carlo and leave and left her at the house with the bodyguards. There is one scene, since I'm in the petty spirit, there was one thing that Doris said, and I just said, oh, the fucking writer's trash for this.
Okay, what happened?
She said that when they had the conversation, when Doris and Elisa Marie was talking, Doris says men need to think we are weak so that we can act strong. They can keep the family strong. Strength is why women and I was just like,
Why?
because that's terrible. It's terrible to try and put that notion into her mind. I thought that was garbage, and for that I was like, garbage writing, garbage.
Okay.
That's it.
It's terrible to put that notion into her mind that she is to be strong as a woman in a family full of men that are misogynistic, maybe that are of an old Italian world. Come on, Bamm.
You're just saying basically the fact that
you just
she
didn't want to
can't-
hear it in the script, or
or are you saying you don't like the fact that she mentioned we have to pretend to be weak?
Thank you.
That's the part.
That's the part.
Okay.
oh, why is it a lie?
Ooh.
I didn't mean to shot. I'm just asking. This is from someone who was like, Tasha needed to go ask Ghost if she could do this. Tasha needed to defer to Ghost before doing this. So obviously, a woman being strong means that she's a threat, right? And she needs to back down and do what the man says.
No, but
right?
that's a different thing when I was speaking of with Ghost and Tasha. But as far as that is concerned, I'll give you a pass. We gonna keep it moving.
All right, next.
So
we could go all day at this.
because we really can.
Angel Wood said, "Hit dogs holla."
Yeah.
Who's a hit dog?
I
does
don't
that
know.
mean?
I don't know which
I
one
don't-
is
what
a
does
hit
that
dog
mean?
in
I'm
here.
like, who's hit?
Angel Wood, please clarify.
So go.
Anyway.
So Ghost and Tommy. So see what happens when people talk and communicate. So Ghost didn't kill. So we find out that Ghost didn't kill Keisha. Says he never put the trigger on anyone he loved. I'm always there to save you, and I'm cleaning up after your shit, protecting you with your lies. Kate, his mom co-signed that earlier. We find out about Proctor, and Ghost said that he's done with his petty shit, and so now we see the perspective of Tommy. Kind of the same.
Are we talking about when they were at the yard?
The rooftop? Or
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Can we just say that? I think that Tate hired the shooters. You know, that's who they were aiming for in the yard. That split up that little beautiful moment when they were coming to their first mea culpa of the episode. That's all I thought about. That is that Tate hired the shooters, and you know,
That makes
conversation
sense.
can help a lot.
It makes totally sense because Tommy at this point thinks that the Italians are after him. And
Yeah.
That was the funniest line ever
Yeah.
when he walked past Cedric on the ground. He was
He's
like,
like,
"You're not
"You're
Italian."
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was funny, and it does make sense because as of now, we know that that Tate is from the streets, that he's got that background, but we still have not seen any of his real like street connection. So you know, it makes a lot of sense, and I would agree with Jill on that.
I'm just curious again as to when, but we'll probably find out next
about
week
Tate?
about Cedric the Entertainer's character. We'll probably find that out next week.
I mean, this is. Let's go off into Powerverse in
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah.
But I just think of the fact that Tate asked Andre eventually to kill Ghost for him at some point later after whatever this shoot and miss thing happened and a man got taken down. So to me, that's indicative of, damn, first time didn't work. We got to try this again. Somebody that's a little more skilled, and we're gonna make this happen.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Anything else between Ghost and Tommy? We kind of talked about it in episode 10, but
I think it's really one of my favorite things to see them come together. And I think that it is so for a lot of Power fans. There's just something about their camaraderie. It feels good when the two of them are together as brothers. And so I enjoyed that scene because it was like somewhat of a clear up. You know, that's all I've... It's
Right.
funny. I've said this for probably all 6 seasons now. I'm like, they just need to talk.
yes,
right,
yeah. Like if they can just talk and have the conversation, so
Yeah.
much stuff can be cleared up. And then what is so great about it?
A message for life.
Yeah, right. And then what's so great about it, right as Tommy was getting ready to kill him, and then Ghost walks up to him and says, he's like, you think you're leaving and I have nothing? And then he tries to shoot him. Ghost then says, no, it's your fault, which Tasha also said, it's your fault. He was like, no, this is your fault. That's your shit, not mine's. And then they get shot at, and then he goes right back into, I have to take care of my little brother. When Tommy went into the thing, all you can hear in the background is Ghost yelling, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy.
Yeah.
So I'm like you, Robin. I really like that scene because no matter how much they love each other, hate each other, whatever, he always wants to look after his little brother.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna talk about that later. That Ghost did something to his little brother to take care of him. So I thought that was really cool. Then Tommy goes after the 2 bodyguards, take them down.
So my favorite thing in the episode, aside from the Ghost and Tommy reconnecting,
450 people in the live chat. Wow.
Y'all lit.
Hit that thumbs up, y'all.
Hey.
was Tommy and Elisa Marie. I know it had shades of, there was this movie called, I think Leon the Professional. I might be jacking it up wrong. It was about a hitman and a little girl, older movie. There's also some things that felt a little Kill Bill-esque about the two of them riding out together. Well, we'll get to that, but there's something that the conversation they had later that reminded me of something that happened in Kill Bill.
So let's just kind of go through this whole thing with Tommy and Elisa Marie. So he goes and he picks her up, or he goes into the house. He kidnaps her. He goes and kidnaps her, and she says that the recording is on the device. He says, "Little girl, pack your bags, get your lunch. Let's go." And then they go into the car, and
I love their bonding.
Yeah,
because it's similar. You know, they seem to connect over having addict mothers, feeling overlooked and kind of left out in the thing, knowing that your parent probably cares for you, but something is not quite right about it. I thought Elisa Marie, I'm blanking on the young actress's name, but I thought she acted her ass off this episode.
She did.
You know, and I really enjoyed Joseph's scenes with her.
Yeah, I really liked it. And on Instagram, Charlotte CJ the God of 404, he wants me to drag Elisa Marie, but because she gave away the device.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I can personally drag, because you saw there was moments. So when you look at Elisa Marie, she admitted that she knew what her dad was up to. She knew what her mom was up to. And then she saw the ring, and then she inquired about cash, and then asked questions and talked about how her mom had a ring like that, that she wasn't going to give to her when she got married. But then the mom went and pawned it. Like,
and she overheard the conversation with Benny and Joe. We talked about that.
Yeah.
What was that, episode 3 or 4, something like that, where he admitted to letting her mother die. That's a lot of mixed emotions and things like that. You know your mother was an addict. She shouldn't have relapsed, but you know that your father forced your mother to relapse and then watched her die, but it was for your benefit.
There's a couple of things that I wanted to mention here. First of all, I truly, truly loved the dynamic between Tommy and Elisa Marie. I just loved it because Tommy stayed very true to character. Like, even when they were back at his apartment, and she said, "I'm not a baby," and he was like, "Nobody was talking to you," or whatever. I mean, I laughed and I rewound that scene. I just loved it because he doesn't have children. He don't really know how to, you know what I'm saying? He's going to remain himself. But also, I thought that moment was beautiful in the sense of, like, when she gave it to him. Part of it was, I think there was a connection made. So maybe that was an internal thing where she's just like, let me do something nice. I don't know.
Because he told her that, I'm sorry, Robin.
No.
He said that he told her, you know, you aren't alone in this world.
Right.
He felt like he knows what it's like to be alone in this world. And I think in that moment they connected. That was her way of saying, you aren't alone in this world either.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. But if you want to dig a little bit deeper and look at it deeper, she could possibly be like, listen, I don't need to have him coming after us in the future. So let me just give you everything.
Exactly. That's why I cannot drag the little girl, because I think that with the fact that her mom, her dad,
her
Uncle Benny, and then her other uncle he's the head of the cartel.
Her great uncle,
like,
right.
I think she wants to get the fuck away from all of this, and she wants to
for now.
Because
Tariq might have some problems because Elisa Marie thought he was her friend, and now she knows he's not. When she decides to become a mafia boss later, or a high-powered attorney,
Possibly.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean,
Possibly.
because look, Tommy told her one more person cares about you.
Yeah.
There's one person who does care about you,
And-
and possibly saying about the aunt. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so basically, like, you're not alone.
You're
have
not
your
alone. You
aunt.
have your aunt,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Listen, I can't afford to lose my aunt. I don't want you coming back after this." So, I mean, I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah.
I did too. And then Tommy also said, listen, after Elisa Marie says, I know you killed my dad, and Tommy, she was like, she said, I know you killed my dad, you don't have to say anything. And Tommy says, listen, if you need to come after me later, I understand.
And that was the Kill Bill scene. It reminded
Yeah.
me of, was it Vernita Green? Maybe
I don't know.
I can't remember. But
Now let's go back. Let's go a little bit back. So when Tommy needed to then go take care of some other stuff, he leaves Elisa Marie with Mrs. Eakin to babysit. Robin, you called it when Paws knocked at the door and he looked as the whole suspicious thing.
Yeah.
That's because he was hiding
Yeah,
the two of them in the room.
yeah.
I just wanted to just say that.
Why? Thank you.
Yeah. I also like the fact that that Mrs. Egan mentioned how she's Lisa Marie, she's innocent, leave her alone, and then she referenced how Cash is the same age and that they shouldn't be involved. And then Tommy says, well,
get your words out, Tommy. That's right. Defend your pseudo family.
Yeah.
You're right.
At the moment.
I thought,
But it's just like, I think
Yeah.
too, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this and I'll let you go. The nerve of Kate. When did you really care about children's welfare growing up? But,
Right. Yeah.
But also remember, she did
wanted a
say
daughter.
she's also wanted a daughter.
Yeah.
And did she know that Holly was pregnant?
No.
I don't
think so.
Yeah.
Maybe later. I don't know.
And maybe because she probably figures she's never gonna get a grandchild, so maybe that was just her moment.
She was like a puppy. Can we keep her?
Yeah, yeah.
She was a trip.
So moving forward with that,
Wait, Miss Lily Renee says Elisa Marie was better at finding out things better than the whole Eastern District. I thought that
Facts.
was super facts. Yeah, that's
She
actually
put it
a really
together.
good point.
Oh, you killed my dad because
Yeah, she's listening out. She's like, okay, Jamie is ghost. He said, you know what I mean? Tommy said that. Like, she's finding out everything.
and then so Two-Bit had two scenes where he says that he says that Dre blew the organization and to go get Dre and help him out. Tommy says, "See you in 20, homie." So we see that same thing again. And then when Tommy now goes back to Tariq, when he admits Ghost is not who we think he is, we
Yeah.
need to go save him. Tariq says, "No, I'm not gonna do that."
I feel like that scene was after when Tariq went to Truth and talked to Ghost and was like, do you really want me to turn myself in?
Yeah.
And I think that that's why Tariq was so anxious and turned up, because he had just had that conversation. And we already know he felt like Ghost lied from that first conversation they had at the hotel, I think it was. And so this was the second time. So I think that's why he went to Tommy and was like, you shouldn't be...
But this is my problem. How can Tariq be so defiant against Tommy when he lied and betrayed him and Tommy spared his life? Listen, at this point, I'm so tired of Tariq. There's no way in hell I'm finna watch his spinoff. I have no interest. I'm done. This is it. I'm done. I have no interest. I'm not finna sit up and watch Tariq be this spoiled brat, wanna be now gangster. And then Mary J. Blige and Method. No.
Okay.
No.
How you really feel, Bam?
No.
Okay.
Done. Can't do it.
Okay. He
Sorry.
irritates you that much to the soul.
His character irritates me, but then with Ghost dead or not dead, and I need more.
Okay.
And Tariq can't do it for me by himself.
Okay.
And
What
Tommy's
if they
in California.
surround him with a great supporting cast?
Don't care.
Okay.
Or just a great story or a great something. No? I don't know. Okay. Well, that's how Bam feels, everybody.
Tommy, wipe out the Italians. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, that scene, Tariq obviously sent Vincent after Tommy, I feel like, to put some space in for Dre to kill his dad. Tariq is turning on people again. it was a great scene to see Tommy take them out by himself. Too much talking, Vincent. You might have been able to get the drop on Tommy if you had wanted to give your monologue. But I thought it was a great, ending, a way to wrap that up and bury Tommy.
Okay, and then we backtrack, and he drops Elisa Marie off because he.
Well,
has to go
I wanted to say this really
sorry,
quickly about Tommy killing Vincent. Such passion. Do you notice that? Like when he's really upset about something, or when when he had a personal connection with somebody, he could have shot him. He could have just turned the gun on him and shot him, but he literally beat his face in.
To take that
so,
aggression
Hey, y'all, we
out,
have 500 people in the chat.
What?
Wow.
What up, live chat?
Live chat in the building.
Seriously, y'all coming
we
through.
appreciate
Make sure
that.
you're liking the video, you guys.
Also, live chat. Next week, the next 2 episodes we'll have guests. So if you guys have any questions or something that you guys want to ask that is just anything in general, ask now because
Drop it in the comments. Leave it there. Hit Power After Plug on Instagram. Leave them there.
And
all
then
of that.
Robin, if you see any interesting questions, you know.
But no, G-Jix Dreams, Tommy is not dead. I don't know where that came from.
Did I say Tommy
He
was
said
dead?
what? Tommy is dead? I don't know.
Did we accidentally?
No one said that. Not us. I don't know if that's from the chat room or not. But
okay.
no.
So as Tommy goes into Club Truth, back doors obviously opened. He sees Dre standing across the street. So we saw that scene, and then he disappeared. So when Tommy goes into...
I'm sorry, very quickly, because when we were watching Dre's perspective, remember, everybody was like, well, was that a ghost, an illusion or something? But no, we just now see that he turned right into truth.
Yeah, and so he goes into there, and then now we see Ghost dead, or we see we see him dying. What do you guys think about that? Like...
So Daryl Love says when Ghost was dying, did he say let it go or let her go?
He said let
it go.
He said let it go. So Tommy sees the killer up in the balcony. So for me, it only makes sense that it's 1 or 2 people.
Okay.
I mean,
Tariq. It's
Tariq or my personal feeling is if it was Sax or Tate or anyone other than Tasha or Tariq. Tommy would have shot right away.
Completely, or would have shot him later on as he said his goodbyes.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have been as affected. Remember when he looked up, he was affected.
There was pain in his face.
He was just like disbelief. Like how could you no? Like you know what I mean? It was one of those. Sax couldn't bring that type of emotion out of him or anybody else for that matter. So it had to be, in my opinion, either Tasha or Tariq.
So, but then my other question is, so when you actually look at it, now this is.
All right, Petty, come on. We got more.
So he shot. You see the bullet hole, but normally when someone bleeds out, there's blood that's kind of splattered, and
we don't know what type of weapon. Maybe it was a .22 and it bounced around in there, and the splatter hadn't come out yet.
But if it's Tariq who shot him, Tariq is not that. Tariq is not a. He's not that well of a shooter.
Point blank range.
How do you know?
We don't know. Point blank range. She's shot a gun before.
Because he did kill Ray Ray.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm just saying that the blood, like normally when someone bleeds,
blood pool?
there's no blood pool. I'm saying all this because do you think that Ghost
is
really dead?
Do you think he faked his death?
Right. Well, I mean, I go back and forth on this all the time, just because the last episode title is just like we planned.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like this was a plan. But then I kind of feel like Courtney said this before when she was on our show. She said there is a consequence for the things that you do, and Ghost has been killing people. He was a drug dealer. I know he's trying to turn his life around, but he's done a lot of damage, harmed a lot of people. So there has to be some sort of consequence.
So let me ask this question.
The whole season is the final betrayal. So for me,
I understand
that could only be 1 of 3 people, and we've eliminated 1.
I understand that, but to then make us go through these long ass 5 episodes of the perspectives just for it to be Tommy, for it to be Tariq or Tasha.
I have an answer to that. Monica gave that answer last week. because you're not only wrapping up Ghost's death, you're wrapping up an entire series.
Okay.
So there are, Dre, there has to be an ending for a lot of stuff
That's
he did.
true.
He could have just went
That's
to
true.
jail. We would want to know, does Spanky go free? Is he on the run? Elisa Marie, she still has a thing. What happened? So the reason why they did that, from what Monica said last week, is because it's the entire series and not just that particular storyline.
Okay. So I'll just say he's not dead, and I'll say that he faked it. And
Wow,
I think,
this is a,
and I think that Tariq, with Tariq wanting to get the gun, the gun that's not marked, I would say that because he had that conversation with Ghost before he had the conversation. There was a conversation in the club with Tariq and Ghost where he kind of reprimanded him. So I'm gonna say that it's possible that in the dialogue that we will see in the final episode, that maybe this was all a setup, because then when you move forward, he gave Tommy the car for him to leave and go. So I'm saying that there's
I have a
possible.
question about that. This is my thing with that. Thinking back to that episode of Tasha and Paz's conversation.
Yeah.
Tasha dropped dime on Tommy with Paz. And we said at the time, I felt like it was to put some space between Tommy and them.
Yeah.
So we know that he let her, initially I thought it was going to be because of Lakeisha.
Yeah.
But we know he let her slide on that. So what would be the only other reason where she's, trying to make sure that Tommy might not come for her or protect herself? Well, it's if he saw her or maybe Tariq kill Ghost, because if he did, she would want to protect her child or herself, and she knows who Tommy is. So maybe Lakeisha's one thing, letting her slide for that is one thing, but killing Ghost, we don't know how he would respond.
Dante said they changed the title of the final episode. That's interesting. We got to look into that. And then if so, I'm curious if you happen to know, Dante, what the final episode has been changed to. But Romello Malone says if Ghost is dead, then James, not Ghost, is in heaven with Raina and Angela, the two people who loved him. That's interesting. That's very poetic. That's very poetic.
Well, shout out to
but
Romello, because
honestly,
we
Romello actually sounds a lot like us when we try to depict who's Ghost, who's James, who is Mr. St. Patrick, blah, 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 blah. So that's poetic.
So after Tommy leaves, he goes back to his mom, and so now Mrs. Egan, she accuses Tommy of killing Jamie, blames him and says she gets it. He was jealous, always got the girl, got the attention he wanted, and saw life beyond Queens, and you hated him for it. And now that Miss Egan can we talk about the money?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was
I would like
a
to know
real.
what the timetable is and how much money she got.
Listen,
I'm curious too.
She kicked her son to the curb.
So, like real quick, like
and
that was crazy.
I believe that James,
there you go.
he gave them millions of dollars.
Okay.
I believe he gave them millions of dollars. Kate is a drug user.
Yeah.
So for her to go ahead and kick her son and say, well, James is taking care of me now, beat it.
But we've always said that Kate and Tommy have a very interesting relationship, right? It was always been very uncomfortable
550.
sometimes.
Wow, thank you.
You guys are really up in this chat room. Thank you. I have always thought that it was kind of uncomfortable at times to watch their relationship.
Tommy likes redheads.
Yeah.
He's that whole redhead thing and that whole like her all up over him, under him and over him thing. But also, it became clear to me that her loyalty and love really lies with Ghost.
The successful son. I feel like
he always had something going for himself. But in addition, it also became clear why she ever needed Tommy to be around. I need you for drugs and I need you for money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she told him to go to hell or go to California, wherever he goes, and that Ghost left him something. And then when he tries to open his package, she tells him to beat it, get out of there.
Yeah.
So now Tommy goes and he makes his final rounds. And when he goes to the garage, he sees the car. Jill and I talked about this yesterday, that Ghost bought Tommy that car for him to get the hell out of there, because you remember because Ghost shot the car up, so he gave him that car.
Well, you think it's to get the hell out of there. I just think he just gave him that card because he felt guilty. And we got 25 seconds.
Okay,
So
but we're just 2 minutes. I promise we'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, I love the ending. I'm glad that Tommy got away. I'm glad there's a potential for him to come back.
Okay, so but before, while he's on it, so 2 big calls. Okay, so anything about Spanky? Omar, shout out to you again.
Great timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just great.
It was funny.
mean, yeah.
So we wondered if Spanky would survive. He didn't.
He didn't.
He's gone.
I didn't think he was going to
Spanky.
survive. You can't do Tommy like that and get away with it.
And we've already talked about how he went to go see Elisa Marie one more time, and then she gave up both of the devices. We already talked about that. And then Tommy gets into his car.
Off to the West Coast to
Off to
Warren
the
G and
LBC.
regulate.
Yeah.
Shout out to the music supervisors. That was perfect. We went
Yeah.
from big rich town to regulating.
Someone said inside the chat room, and I don't know, I'm sorry, it was a long time ago. They said Tommy always has the most soulful music for his episodes. Isn't that right? He always
Yeah, he
has
does,
these
yeah.
moments, of great music and all of that. So yes, that was a great job picking that music.
Yeah. I loved it. What is your take on Tommy in LA?
I would love to see it. Bring it on.
Yeah, we've been saying that for
We
a
could
long
jump-
time.
we
There's
could
only
time
so
jump,
many
too.
places he can fit. If you know LA, Long Beach is probably pretty good for him to go. Like
Drug life in New York and drug life in LA are 2 different things.
But LA loves a New York drug dealer.
Yeah, but Tommy,
Book it.
I don't think Tommy can survive in the streets by himself. I think that Tommy finally understands why Ghost wanted to get out the game, and I think that when he does go to Los Angeles, he's going to start a whole new life. He's going to try to avoid the drug life. He's going to try to do something
but to
else.
do what though?
Yeah.
I don't.
What
I-
kind of skills does Tommy have? See,
I don't-
Ghost he went to school and Ghost was, smart and he had other aspirations. But what?
But I understand that. But you think about the conversations that he had with his mom,
Okay.
Wanting to get out of Queens. I feel like when he saw Ghost laying down dead on the ground, I feel like Tommy felt like, God, like damn, like I feel. Like I get it, I understand. Like for me, it was a come to whoever. Like he had his moment where he finally understood why Ghost was trying to get them out.
That's an
And
interesting perspective.
And I feel like with him getting the car, I feel like Tommy has a whole new perspective of maybe I do need to start over.
I don't think.
But I do think in the spinoff he will eventually have to get back to that.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone agrees with you. It's fine. No, it's what's great about different people's opinions.
Yep.
And I guess that we'll just have to see, right? Clearly Tommy has made it out. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll get to see more of that. I don't know if you'll see it because you tapping out.
Yeah, I'm tapping out.
It's done.
And I may change my mind when when we get some when we see
I
some
believe
trailers.
this though. I believe the same people who created Power, if they keep the same writers or whatever, there's a magic in these writers because as much as people say whatever they say right now, we have 557 people currently in our chat room. These are just 557 people looking at us break down Power, which started off as a very small show, but it became
Saturday nights.
magical and it became epidemic. Not an epidemic, but it became like. Yes. Okay.
I just want to take a picture where it said 557.
Okay, great. But so I'm just saying the same magic that they did, the people who created Power, there's, I believe, the same type of magic that will create something else great for whatever's to come.
And so
Whether people like it or not.
And so next week joining us will be the writer of episode 614 is Eric Haywood. And so I believe this is going to be Tate's storyline. So as we say our goodbyes, you guys have any predictions for next week?
I do not have any predictions, but I want to say continue to like the video here. You guys continue to ask your questions. We'll be up in there responding to you guys. You can follow me at Robin Ayers on all of my social media platforms.
Hit me everywhere at Stiletto Jill. Let me know your theories, thoughts, who you think the shooter is. Follow us at Power Afterplug too to continue more Power conversations. And I'll see you in the comments.
And
I'll
also,
see all of you.
I'm sorry. And I just wanted to just show my gratitude on behalf of everyone here and past members. Thank you so much for watching us, interacting with us on Twitter, social media. I just want to express my gratitude. Thank you guys so much because the next 2 episodes, like I said, will be busy. Eric is coming next week, and Courtney and and the other director is scheduled to come. So I don't know if I'll be able to express that, but I really do want to thank you guys so much for all of the support and just always reaching out to us, DMing us, giving us their theories, and recognize us on the street. So I just want to say thank you so much. So next week, as I said, we have writer Eric Haywood. I'm Bamm Ericsen. Thank you guys so much, and 2 more episodes, and
Woo! And we're going to see what happens after that.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you.
See ya.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.